Okay, we're here to look at factorising quadratic trinomials. We have 4 questions here and we're going to go through each of them. Start off with x squared plus 8x plus 7. Now the method is going to be the same with all 4, so you should see the method that you're going to use as a template from here on out. X squared plus 8x plus 7. The first step you do is to basically take the coefficient of x squared, which is 1, so there's a hidden 1 there. Multiply that by the constant, which is the number by itself at the end. Multiply those together and you get 7. Then we're going to find the factors of 7, which in this case are, as we know, because we just multiplied them, 1 and 7. And then we're going to rewrite the original expression with the 1 and the 7 in place of the 8. So we have x squared plus 1x plus 7x plus 7. And if you look back at the original x squared plus 8x plus 7, you can see that it's exactly the same as my new line that I've just written, except I've taken the 8x and I've broken it up into 2 pieces, a 1x and a 7x. What's the purpose of doing that? Well, now if you look at this, we have 4 terms and we can factorize now by grouping. Okay, so we can take the first 2 terms and the second 2 and the last 2 terms and find the highest common factor. So if we look at x squared and 1x, the highest common factor there is x. That leaves us with x plus 1. And then for the last 2, the highest common factor is 7, and that also leaves us with the remaining factors of x plus 1. And then as we know then, to finish that off, we just take the x plus 7 and the x plus 1, and that's our factors found for that particular one. Okay, so again, we'll start off with a different question. X squared plus x minus 12. We take the coefficient of x squared, which is 1. We're going to multiply that by minus 12. Don't forget about the minus signs when you have them, and you end up with minus 12. So again, we're looking for factors of minus 12. Now this is a little bit more difficult because 1 and minus 12 are absolutely one of the options, but we also have minus 1 and 12. We also have 2 and minus 6. We'll keep going through them all. Minus 2 and 6. 3 and minus 4. Minus 3 and 4. So we have a list of 6 factor pairs that all, when you multiply all those together, they all give you minus 12. So rather than the previous question where we just had one option, we had to pick that one. Now we have to go through each list and say, okay, which one of these works in this situation? So we have 6 factor pairs, and what determines which one we pick is basically, if you think about the number in the middle there, we've got a plus x, which basically means, if you look back at x squared plus x minus 12, the plus x basically means plus 1x. So what we're actually trying to do is find which of these pairs of factors, when you add them together, not multiply them, when they multiply together, we know they get minus 12, so they've passed that first test. The second test they need to pass is, do they add to plus 1? Do they add up to plus 1? So 1 and minus 12 add up to minus 11, so no, it hasn't passed the test. Minus 1 and 12 is plus 11, so no, that hasn't passed the test. 2 and minus 6, when you're adding them, that gives you minus 4, so no, that doesn't pass it. And you keep going down along, no, minus 1, no, and of course it just happens to be that the very last one is the one we need. Minus 3 plus 4 is plus 1. Yes, all right. So this is our chosen factor pair. So we, like we did in the last question, we rewrite the original expression x squared plus x minus 12, and we write it out with minus 3x plus 4x minus 12. And again, it doesn't matter what order you put these in. You can put it as x squared plus 4x minus 3x, or you'll still get the same answer at the end. Okay, so again, once we have the 4 terms in this expression, we use factorizing by grouping again. So we have x as the highest common factor, and that leaves us with x minus 3. And then we have plus 4 as the highest common factor for the last two, x minus 3. And remember, we're always looking to see that we have the same thing inside the brackets each time. And then you can do factorizing by not grouping again, but you're looking for the highest common factor of each these two, which is x minus 3, and that leaves us with x plus 4. All right, so that's our final answer. X plus 4 and x minus 3 are both factors of quadratic trinomials, which basically means they divide in evenly. Okay, next part of the video we'll do the other two questions. Okay.